Welcome to the Santuario Mariano Nuestra Señora del Carmen, a very important place for all of us who have lived in this beautiful land of Puerto Colombia. As a child, I had the opportunity to meet the first parish priest of this church and saw its construction. I would gladly guide you through this beautiful adventure where you will get to know one of the most important religious temples in our Departamento del Atlántico, considered a historical and cultural monument since 1995, where the beauty of faith is reflected. It is a great sample of Catholic and cultural traditions of our municipality. The name is in honor of the statue of Virgen del Carmen, who came to our town more than a century ago. They say it was donated by a mysterious woman who came on a ship from distant lands. Halfway through her journey, she lost her husband. The widow decides to make a promise to the Virgin. If she touched the land, she would donate the statue to that place. Is this true? Well, we really don't know. But let us return to the morning of 1903, when the Spanish ship Mala Real arrived in Puerto Colombia. It is said that in this boat came a wooden and fine plaster statue with black long hair and a height of 1.9 meters. It was so beautiful that the place shone, something never seen before by these porteña lands that came to stay in our hearts. It was called Virgen del Carmen, protector of the navigators and transporters. This image was commissioned to La Iglesia del Rosario in Barranquilla. Every 16th of July, the dockers asked to borrow it to celebrate the festivities of the Virgin by our first Spanish priest, Don Bernardino Orihuela, who came to our land almost at the same time as our Virgen del Carmen, with a mission to promote the maternal figure of the Virgin Mary in Latin America. Although every year we celebrated this feast, there was no special spot for this image to be placed. Seeing this, in 1905, Don Bernardino collected money for 2 years with the people of the town. I also helped on several occasions. The money that people donated eventually was used to buy land and thus managed to build a church. Thanks to the support of the people, in 1912, the figure of the Virgen del Carmen is donated and everything is prepared to begin its construction until 1922. Thanks to the help of some Spanish architects who would complete it 2 years later. In 1919, 3 years before its construction, the President of the Republic at that time, Marco Fidel Suárez, placed the first stone as a symbol of the future project, taking advantage of his visit to the dock of Puerto Colombia. As for its architecture, I remember hearing the architect say that it is a neo-Gothic Florentine style, a European style in which the churches had enough color, with a combination of French Gothic style and the Italian Renaissance. If you look at the imposing front door, it has an archivolt made of fine wood, surviving the weather conditions. Its facade is framed by Greco-Roman columns and a rose windows in the medieval Gothic style. You can detail some wooden crosses giving a clover shape, using a wood covered in plaster, all made by hand. The church, despite the years, still remains with the neo-Gothic structure. Many details also show it as a reflection of the cultural mix of this region. For example, you can observe it while walking, the floors in hydraulic tiles forming an Arab mosaic with 8 pointed stars, all original of the time. If you look up, you can see the structure of the gable roof in wood with a medieval influence, with pointed arches very typical of the neo-Gothic, leaving the skeleton structure visible. This church has a single nave, that is, from the door you can see everything inside, because it only has one corridor fully illuminated by the windows with rosettes located on each side and with upper moldings in plaster. If you walk to the altar, you would find in the middle of the arches with the Romanesque influence the original statue of La Virgen del Carmen. In the transept, that is, the transverse nave that cuts the church, you will find on the one hand the tabernacle and some structures framed in pediments with Renaissance influence, and on the other, the baptism. In 1987, this church took the name of Santuario Mariano, since this is a very important place where the Virgen del Carmen is venerated in a special way, because before it was known as a parish, going through 2 restorations until today. A curious fact is that the Virgin has more than 50 dresses, layers, and ornaments. It has 3 crowns and several wigs of synthetic and natural hair. Many items have been donated by parishioners as a symbol of gratitude for the blessings and miracles granted thanks to this intersection. For a long time, all of this has been taken care of with much love by Miss Enid Donado from the Brotherhood of the Virgin and the Knights of the Virgin. To the end of this tour, I recommend you to pray in the Blessed Sacrament, a sacred and special place. When you go out, get refreshed in the ice cream shop that is in the square of the church. Also, take beautiful photos in the mural that tells the history of Puerto Colombia. Upload them to your social networks and use the hashtag Puerto Colombia Tierra de Historias.